Hey guys, Ill Factor here, music producer and celebrity music production coach. Now in this video, I want to share with you one of the techniques that I use to help with my automation in Ableton Live to get the balance sitting just right in my mixes. So let's dive right in. Now using automation for volume levels is a great way to get the balance of your mix sitting just right. So I'll show you some practical steps on how you can automate in Ableton Live, and then next I'll show you my technique for automating my volume levels in my projects. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this session here. Here are the main lead vocals for this.
Up in the sky with the aeroplanes.
So what I want to do is just adjust the volume for a particular section. Let's just say this section here. And so it's as easy as just highlighting the section you want, holding the shift key, and move your cursor over to the dotted red line, which will turn solid once your mouse hovers over it. Then just while holding the shift key, you can adjust the volume for that whole highlighted section by just moving your mouse up or down. So we'll have this go up a little bit, and I'll have the next section down here just go down in volume, just to show you how this works.
Up in the sky with the aeroplanes, leave you up in the...
So obviously this one was boosted in volume, and then this one was reduced in volume. Let's head over to the session view so you can see what's happening to the actual volume fader.
Aeroplanes, leave you up.
Now, the problem I have with this, the practical way of automating in Ableton Live is if I ever wanted just to adjust the volume overall of this vocal performance throughout the rest of the track, and let's say if I just click this, I think the vocal could come up a couple dBs. Once I click the volume fader and move it away, that red dot will turn to a shade of gray. The automation will be bypassed, meaning that it will no longer automatically respond to any automation that I've written in there. And it's just going to stay at the level that I'm at. So you have a couple options. You could either grab all the automation that you've done for that vocal or whatever track it is and raise it up, or down, whatever, if you think it needs to go up. Or here's the technique that I like to use when automating in my mixes. So I'll just right click this and delete the automation. And I like to I don't really like to automate my volume faders. I like to leave them automationless in case I want to just bring everybody down. And this has happened to me before where I've automated volume faders and then I was like, oh, you know what? I'd like to just bring these 3 tracks just down a couple decibels in volume, but they all have automation, so I have to go to each track, and so it could just be a little tedious. So this method really helps with this problem. So you simply just go to your plugins, and what we're gonna do is go to the utility plugin, and we're gonna drag a utility plugin as the last item on that chain. All right, so you might have a couple plugins or whatever, so utility will be last in the effect chain. And now what we're doing is using the gain knob or the gain section of that utility plugin for the automation, for the purpose of adjusting volumes up or down. That way, if in the course of the whole track, I just wanted to raise the volume of the vocal or a particular drum element or whatever the case may be, I can just adjust that through the volume fader, 1 or 2 dBs, and I don't have to readjust any automation. So let me show you how this is practically done. So let's go back to the vocal here. Let's go to the beginning.
Up in the sky.
And now what we're going to do is just simply click the gain. And so any parameter that you click or, that you're focused on in Ableton Live, you'll notice that the parameter will show up under the current. That's what you're focusing on for your automation. You can click here and you could choose what it is that you want to automate. So in this case, utility, and what is it inside the utility that you want to adjust. And that's going to be the gain. A great simple way to do that is just click the item. You'll see a bracket show up around it, and that means that you're currently trying to automate something on that. So gain. Now what I'm going to do is the same process we did before. Just highlight this section and raise the gain there. And what I like doing this too is this is giving me a visual guide. It's letting me know right there in the gain that I can see while I'm adjusting. Okay, I'm going up 1.80 dB, and that's very helpful to me because I just want to raise that section maybe 2 dB up. And then this section will go maybe, 3 dB down or so.
Up in the sky.
So now we've got automation and volume happening, but you notice that there's no automation here on the volume knob. So if I wanted to raise the volume overall, then I could just do that here in my fader. And this becomes really helpful in the mixing stage of any of my projects. So if there's a particular section that I want just to raise in volume, I'll use the utility plugin, and instead of going back in and raising all the adjustments there, and it could just be a little cumbersome in doing that. So here's another technique and another trick that you might want to consider doing. Now what I do is I'll have any audio track that I will create. When you hold Command T and create a new audio track, when a new audio track's created, I make sure that by default a utility plugin is already located on that track. And you could simply do this by clicking an audio track, creating an audio track, and dragging a utility plugin right on that audio track. And once that's on there, just simply right click on the track and choose Save as Default Audio Track. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you this prompt saying, hey, do you want this to happen every time you create an audio track? Yes. And now anytime you create an audio track, you'll see that an audio track is already created with a utility plugin on there. This just saves some time, creates a better workflow, knowing that I'm always going to have a utility plugin located on every track, every audio track that I create. And so that I can easily just go to the gain and automate that gain, therefore leaving any of the volume faders alone. And if I ever want to just boost or reduce the volume, I could do that just simply adjusting the volume fader without having to adjust it. So this is a great technique. It's helped me tons. I can't tell you how frustrated I was when I would have close to 78 track mixes and things that I'm working on in Ableton Live, and there's so much automation that I want to adjust. And so I started doing this because it was very, very helpful when it came to getting the balance right in my mixes and just hassle-free when it comes to automating the volume. So I hope this was helpful. Be sure to click the link below in the description box, and I've created a free Ableton Live template loaded with loops, sound effects, instruments, and great effect chains that you can use, such as like a great vocal chain. I created a video explaining what the vocal chain has, but use the link below in the description box to download that. Absolutely yours for free. It's just my gift for you for watching this video. So I hope this was helpful, and take care.